I find in my anecdotal experience that anytime someone says I'm an independent, that is in my anecdotal experience always followed by and I voted for Trump or I'm going to vote for Trump. So I'm wondering, as I said, in my late 20s, that's been my experience. Has that always been the case in your experience in a longer term, or in the past has an independent been more middle road, or just if you could speak to that, I'm curious.
Most independents now and historically are not actual independents. They lean pretty clearly left or right. They vote pretty consistently for one party. The number of people who are true independents who vote for different parties at different times is very small, less than 10%, maybe less than 5%. Brian, then Beverly.
Yeah, Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Reed, I think the point you're making is a good point. I would have to say that Mark is, we kind of hollowed out the center, and Democrats were cast to the left and Republicans were cast to the far right. And I think that's what's really wrong right now with the Democratic Party is the loss of all of that, which I would call them more centrist voters, that I've worked for in my career. And I've worked for everybody from Nancy Pelosi to much more conservative members of Congress. And I would say that today, Nancy Pelosi is not really considered left, because she has a lot of centrist, independent views, that are much more pragmatic. And I'm just saying that even since she's been in Congress, it went much further to the left. And I think that's what we're uncomfortable with today, Reed, is I think Democrats are uncomfortable going forward with a party as it is today.
Right.
It cannot sustain itself. If you look at Paul Begala, Mark, our friends, Jim Carville, Doug, or anybody else out there talking about this, they are talking about how to regain those issues, that tone. It reminded me of what Rahm Emanuel said last week. We need to be a lot more concerned about what's going on in the classroom, not the bathroom.
Yep.
And, I think that's a really good example of how Democrats lost their voice. And to your point, Reed, how we lost or anything about being independent as a country, whether you're Democrat or Republican.
Brian,
And I'll
thank you.
just, yeah, and I'll just say
Real
something real
quick,
quick.
Beverly, if you can.
I
Yeah.
think parties are weak right now. They don't stand for the same values that they used to in the past. So people don't feel comfortable aligning themselves with a specific party because they don't feel like they can line up with everything that party supports. So I just think
Yeah.
parties are weak.